Joining me on the program right now are two gentlemen. I have Mr. Joe Igwokwe, who joins us from another part of Lagos, and he joins us on the phone. And then right here in the studio, I have Justice, Mr. Justice Uhwegu, who is, of course, of the PDP. Let me start with you, Mr. Igwokwe. Tell us what you make of the outcome now of the card reader. Of course, it didn't go all too smoothly for INEC. I'm talking about the test now. We didn't see 100% performance, but then you just can't dismiss it to say, look, the card reader has failed.
Who are the people saying so?
No, because, I mean, we've had some people come out to say, well, that because it did not perform 100%, it wouldn't be necessary to use it for the elections.
We must use the card reader. Otherwise, there will be no election.
Are you not scared that in some cases where the card reader was tested, it didn't work out too well? For instance, there were cases where we understand the batteries were not fully charged and there were just no replacements.
What we are saying is that INEC should have a backup system. But do you know why we have to use the card reader? It's to identify who is voting, to know that the PBC belongs to that person. The moment you don't have that kind of checks and balances, you leave the system open to fraudulent manipulations, and that would be unacceptable.
It would appear the APC is coming on very strong on this card reader, but we do not see such a kind of strong reaction now. It would appear the PDP is not so enthusiastic as the APC on the use of this card reader, and some people are asking questions. What exactly is it about the APC with the card reader?
Who imported the card reader? Who invested money to import the card reader? Who invested money to pay the PBC? Why are you rejecting it now? Because you have clone cards. People have clone cards. I know one man who was and is still busy collecting PBCs in Lagos. As I started behind their meeting, at the complex, he was posting that they have better one there. That if you want to elect today in Lagos, they will win. He's a PDP man.
He's a PDP man. Okay, let me just...
I'm not asking myself, how do you want to transport these things into the ballot box? You don't answer my question. I need to do my own business. I just do his own business. That is doing his own business. So you can now see the outcry. Why they don't want this idea that they imported? Why they don't want it used? This idea has been used in Ghana. He has been used in Ethiopia. He has been used in Kenya and other small countries. Why are they afraid to use it? This technology meant for proper documentation and proper identification of who are the vote. And we must use it.
All right, let me just...
They know that they are going to lose this election if they don't do what they are planning to do.
Okay. Let me just pause you there and bring in Mr. Justice Uhwegu. It would appear, as I said, that the PDP, your party, is not enthusiastic on the use of the card reader, and that's quite surprising because the whole essence of the use of the card reader is to check fraud during the elections.
Yeah, I will probably tell you that actually we all understand the advantages of these card readers. But we are also looking at the other side of it. Is there anything that has advantage also has disadvantage? And when you compare advantage of a thing and disadvantage, if that disadvantage is higher, you don't go by it. Secondly, let me correct.
Now, in this case, is the disadvantage higher?
Yeah.
How is it higher?
That's what I'm saying. I want to explain. Let me also make it straight to you. You see, when we talk about PDP thing, APC thing, I think it goes beyond that.
No, but let's face it. Tell me.
Yes. You see, that's
no. But the fact is, there are two clear-cut positions on this, the use of the card reader. The APC is coming out strong to say, look, we must use the card reader. The PDP, whether we like it or not, has not been enthusiastic about it. We've seen the spokesperson of the PDP presidential campaign organization, Fani Kayode, come out to say, look, this thing should not be used, that it's just not the right time for Nigeria to deploy the use of the card reader?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. Now, when you look at it critically, let's be realistic to ourselves. Personally, even me, I do not support the use of this card reader for now. You know why? I will tell you my facts. One, in as much as we know the advantage of what we want to achieve, but the truth is this: these card readers will disappoint us. No, as I speak to you, wait a minute. As I speak to you, you are aware that there are some PVCs that were meant for a particular state that we are transported to another state.
That's a different question.
It's a different question. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. We are talking about backup batteries. We are talking about fingerprints.
And INEC says it has more than enough backup batteries.
Is it INEC has
more than enough even backup card readers?
INEC have said a lot of things before now. Can you now see that as at 14th February this year, INEC was not ready for this election?
Well, INEC says it was ready for the election.
They were not. If they were ready, why is all these things coming now?
Well, but then let me ask you, you were talking about the disadvantages. I still want to know what those disadvantages are.
The disadvantages is this. One, personally, I feel that this fire brigade approach is not healthy for us. Because as I speak to you now, if you go to the rural areas, many people do not even know that this card reader is going to be used. We are advantaged because we're in the city like Lagos. And many people outside there don't even know about these card readers. Let's tell ourselves the truth. If this thing had been test run since last year, Anambra election was there, Ekiti election was there, Osun State election was there, nobody talked about these things.
And maybe budget wasn't released on time for it.
It is not that.
But in actual fact, based on the test results we have seen, the one INEC, the last test INEC conducted, observers actually went. Of course, there were challenges. You would naturally have challenges even if it was manual. But, you know, they certified the system, okay, that you could say, you know, on a scale of 100%, you could say the process worked at about 95, 98% fine.
It is not true. Nobody is expecting 100% performance. But what we are saying is this: the likelihood of differentiating so many people is there. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, so how?
Fine. That is the issue. Now, INEC has told you. Last time I was watching, they were saying if you have scratch on your finger, it might not take your fingerprint. They will now resort to what do you call it? The former way we used to do it before. You see, if you know, like Mr. Bokwe said, this thing was used in Kenya. It was used in small countries.
Yeah, small countries. So how come it's so difficult to use?
I'm happy small countries. You say small countries. Is Nigeria a small country?
But to be candid, let's face it. If you do not use the card readers now, when exactly would be the appropriate time to use them?
To tell you the truth, I love this innovation. In fact, I would have loved a situation where I would stay in my house on the day of election. I will use my iPad or my laptop and cast my vote, and it will count. That is technology at work. But what we are saying is this: anything we're doing is we're doing well. Why this fire brigade approach? Why didn't you start on time sensitizing people, test running these things? We know the problems we are having in Nigeria as per technology, services and all the rest. Your service will come and go. Even you that is sitting here now with me, I'll be calling you now. The phone will be saying that your number is not available. This thing works with the internet. It works with service.
No, it does not work with the internet. We all know that. It has nothing to do with the internet. This is just a card reader that works remotely. And the fact is, as I asked, if you do not use the card reader now, have you not gone to
bank before to use your ATM to withdraw money, and they will tell you that
INEC has not said this thing is 100% okay, but that you naturally would have a problem.
As I speak to you, I don't know where you came from. I don't know whether you have asked. You are a journalist. I don't know whether you have asked people from your locality inside the village whether they know anything about card reader, whether this thing have been introduced there. Let us not make this thing looks as if Lagos State is the only place the election is going to hold. Or Abuja. We have so many remote areas that there are farmers, cattle rearers that do not know what me and you is talking about card reader. And up to today, many of them have not heard anything about card reader. And that's what I'm telling you, the sensitization is so poor.
The point is, if you do not do it now, when exactly are you going to get the right time to do it?
And we're ready to do it right. What I'm trying to say is, anything we're doing is we're doing well. Let us do it at an appropriate time. Why the rush now? Within how many weeks to election, you're bringing in this thing, and people do not even know what
Okay, let me just pause you there. Mr. Igbokwe, sorry we lost you, and thank God you're back. I just want you to react to what he said, Justice just said here, that, look, whether you like it or not, there's not been enough sensitization, and that you cannot guarantee that this thing can work foolproof.
Let me ask him, if you apply this card reader, it's only a teacher for only PDP. Is it not for everybody?
Sure, it is for everybody.
It has to be used. It has to be used. You know, when there's suspicion of this, you can see the reactions that are coming across Nigeria. Even mass of some far away over here is saying that we must not use the card reader. And you wonder what is going on.
Now, what he just said,
that they don't want something they invested money on.
Now, can I ask you a question, an issue he raised? He said, for instance, how do you think this thing can work in rural areas, that even the rural people have not been sensitized on the use of the card reader, even though the...
Do you need to sensitize anybody?
Anyway, you're right.
What you need to do is to bring their PVC, and you check with your machine whether they are the people.
Well,
or is the person.
Well,
that's what you need to do. The man that is having the something don't even need to know what you want to do.
It's not true.
You are the one that understands the technology. You are the one that is supposed to apply it, not them. What you want to do is identify the man who is standing before you with his PVC, whether he is the owner of the PVC.
And which is correct.
And so that is what to do. Why are you afraid of something that you have not tested? Until we get to the tree, that's when you cross it. You understand?
You're absolutely right.
There's no system. As an engineer, there's no system that is 100%. You need gaps for minus plus. You know?
Now, but the question is, people have come out to say, look, the stakes are very high in this election, and you just cannot afford to get anything wrong, because if you do that, it will create room for some kind of controversy and might even cast some kind of shadow of doubt now on the elections.
That's why we want this thing to be a free and fair process. Don't use that one to intimidate us. If you say you are winning this election, go and do the right thing. Do the right thing. Let us identify those who are voting. These people we see it now. Why are people collecting PVC? And they have been given money for over a year now, collecting these things. And we know them. After this, I'm going to send you a text that you will read. Text their leader in Lagos was forwarding to their agents who said they are running NGOs. I'll forward the text to you so that you can read it. And leave INEC to do his job. Leave INEC to do his job. Don't go and tell INEC what to do. Leave INEC to do the job. You need to know what the technology is all about. All they need to do is to bring their PVC. I look at it and know whether you are the one there.
Okay, let me just pause.
You are the one there, no problem. You got good.
Mr. Igbokwe, can you just hold on? Just hold on for just for some minutes now. Let me get the reaction of Justice here. Yeah.
You know, Deji, I get surprised when people talk certain ways because of one thing or the other, because of belong to this party or this group or that. You see, we've forgotten that all of us have one responsibility.
No, but even you too, your position is based on your party. But
it's not true.
No, but just go on and make your point.
My responsibility is this. Listen to me, yes. Deji, I'm a lawyer. And not just that I'm a lawyer, I'm a human rights lawyer. I'm interested in the people, carrying the masses along. How can somebody say that the masses do not know what is not, they're not supposed to know what is happening? That even if me not being a lawyer, as an ordinary person, I come to a polling booth, you collect my PVC and you put it in one machine, you've not sensitized me to know what is happening, you think I will agree? Let's be realistic to ourselves.
But to be candid, do you think people do not know about this?
They don't. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Are you absolutely sure? Have you done your own investigation?
Yes, I've conducted investigation on my own. I have an NGO. Apart from that, I don't want to talk about that. We are privy to some of these things because we are in Lagos and some people are in Abuja. No, this is the center of the whole thing.
But you also,
that's why I said,
hold on.
We are here now.
Now, in those places where INEC conducted this test, they were not in urban centers. Most of them were not in urban centers.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. INEC purportedly conducted the test.
INEC conducted it.
Now, how many people were involved? Did INEC call all the people in a polling booth to conduct that test?
The fact is, can you ever have that kind of ideal situation? And whether you like it or not, there must be a time when you would start using something.
Understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah, personally, and even at the other position, I'm not opposed to the use of card readers. But what I'm trying to tell you is this: it should be done at the appropriate time.
And when is the appropriate time?
Yes, my problem now is that we are rushing the whole thing. This thing came very late. He said something.
Okay, we should wait until 2019.
No, it's not what I'm saying. Listen to me. Understand what I'm saying. Election was conducted last year.
It wasn't used.
It wasn't used.
Yeah, because it was not provided.
Now, how many weeks to the election? You're introducing this, and there are hitches here and there concerning this. You're talking about backup batteries. Most of the remote areas election is going to be conducted. There will not be light there. Is there any guarantee that those backup batteries are going to work? But don't you see a situation where so many people will be franchised?
The question is, if you don't use something, how do you know it will work? But let me just pause you there and bring in
continue experimenting in this country every time.
He's raised some valid points anyway. I mean, whether you like it or not. I mean, this is technology. You can never guarantee that this will work perfectly. And if things don't go too well, people will definitely complain, and it might, as I said earlier, cast a shadow of doubt on the outcome of the election.
Don't mind those people that are confused and desperate, you know. He's saying that we need to wait for people to get educated before we do that. If they are talking about somebody who is 60, 65, or 70, who did not go to school, you have to wait until that person is in secondary school and university before you start applying it. Don't mind those people. They are liars. Leave INEC to do its job. INEC should be allowed to do its job. Why are they afraid of this election? We've had elections before. We don't have to live in the past. We have to move.
Okay.
Why are these people afraid of what they invested money on? Why are they afraid? Don't listen to them. They don't have anything to tell.
No, but I must correct you. It's not as if they are. It's not as if they are lying. They are actually making their position. They are canvassing their position the same way you're canvassing your position.
I think I will come in here now.
I don't know if they are running away from a project they invested on.
All right, but you guys.
Are they running away from a project they invested on?
Okay, let's just take a 60 seconds break. When we come back, I want us to discuss the Obanikoro saga.
I have to reply. He said something. He said something I want to reply to quickly.
Okay, do you want to reply?
Yeah,
go on quickly.
You see,
he wants to reply to you, so let's listen to him.
I want Joe to understand one fact. You see, when you're talking about we, which means you're being sentimental and you're being one-sided. You're talking about, to me, like I said, it's not a party thing. You must not protect the interests of your party every time, but rather protect the interests of the masses. Deji, you're a journalist. Go outside there and interview people. Let's remove PDP or APC out of it. Why is he talking about PDP, APC? Who is even the card reader? Both the person coming to vote for PDP and APC will go through the same process. Is that not true? At the end of the day, do you know whom the person is going to vote? Do you know where the die is going to be cast?
But if some people have actually, as he alleged, some people have actually started collecting PVCs, then it's
yes, he's alleging it, and I'm happy he's alleging it. And I will tell you that he's also in the other side, their own side. Because I've also gotten complaints of that.
Oh, really? That
yes,
the APC
it has been accusations and counter-accusations. And you see, what I hate in life is propaganda. Unfortunately, the propaganda in Nigerian politics is not being constructive and positive. When they are doing something, they first of all accuse you that you're doing that thing. That's what they are doing.